Good afternoon and welcome to Conference Room Conversations. This is Carla Nelson Chambers coming to you tonight with three of my very, very good girlfriends. I have talked to them about, by this being Black History Month, and by this talking about women in power, how we move to the next level in our careers and in our business. I couldn't think of, well, I could, but three of my very good friends that have been down this road with me of being in business, talking about the struggles, the journey. And with Sandra a couple of weeks ago, we talked about the process and what it means to go through all the different changes. And I have somebody, one of my good friends, Shelby. I'm going to have her talk a little bit about herself because Shelby's been with me the longest in this road of being in business and taking the little side roads and then coming back into business and everything. And then, of course, many of you know Michelle from not just this show, but all the different shows she supports, Donnie Glover and his other broadcasts and everything. So these are three of my go-to ladies that I talk to all the time about different things. And I just want to welcome you into our conversation. You all are just going to be listening in to all of the wonderful things that we discuss. So with that,
so Carla, wait a minute. Let me do this.
Yes, ma'am.
Carla has, been doing a great job with the podcast, okay? And we've been getting wonderful feedback. But I think that our viewers need to hear about you, Carla. Let's flip the script tonight. Okay?
Okay, so what does that mean?
That means this. So instead of you being the person to, bring up this and bring up that, talk to us, tonight we are going to learn about my fabulous friend, Miss Carla Nelson, her business, the ups and downs, successful, and all the people you've helped along the way. Now, I think we need to get that out there to the audience so that they know that you're doing this podcast, but you are experienced businesswoman yourself, successful, been through it. I mean, come on. I think the audience needs to know that the person who's heading this podcast, been there, done that, wrote the book a couple of times, and still is wonderful.
Well, I agree.
Well, with that, if that's the case, I couldn't think of two better people who've helped me down that road. How about that? Woo! Because they have been there literally to hold my hand. You posted, Michelle, and Sandra and Shelby know this because we talk about it all the time. But Michelle, you posted something on podcast that says, we've heard it that if a dream or idea is bigger than you, if it scares you, it's bigger than you. You need other people, and that has been my experience. It's very true, and you have to have some people that are like-minded to help you be successful. It's never a one man or one woman show. So to have these two ladies with me on tonight's spot, it's a perfect setup.
Well, you know what? I'm glad I said I wanted to take over tonight.
Yes, I'm gonna shut up.
Okay, I'm glad I said that. That means okay. So you done set it up perfectly for me. Okay. So, ladies, this is what I'm going to ask you to do since we taking over Carla's show tonight, right? Okay. We're going to spotlight Miss Carla Nelson Chambers tonight. We are going to talk about how she got started in business. We're going to also, take this down, Carla, because the audience wants to know how you got started in business. Sandra, Shelby, jump in there as you need to tell your tidbits of stories about the journey with Carla. Woo. Because she has helped so many women along the way, and she has needed help along the way. And businesses, they all need to know that it's okay when you need help, but also give help. Okay? It goes both ways. So tonight, I want you to start out with how you got started in business, what pushed you there. If you had some fears, how did you overcome some of those fears? Because we all try to work through that fear part a little differently.
Yeah.
Okay. Not everybody works through that part, the same way. Some you just need to stay by yourself. Some needs that circle.
Yeah.
Okay. That circle of trust to be able to say, okay, girl, you got this, So everybody works through it differently. So tonight, take us on your journey.
Whew. Okay. Way back in 19, no, serious. No, I'll be serious.
This is right.
Yeah, it was literally in 1992, and I was going to a church. Many people in Prince George's are familiar with the church, Full Gospel AME Zion Church. I don't have a problem dropping names for good things, and they're now called From the Heart Ministries. And I just, at that time, we're talking about the early 90s. That was one of the few churches that had over 10,000 members. And it was the first time I was ever a part of a ministry, not only that was that large, but taught Bible principles. It's one thing to hear the thumping, messages, but he taught the Bible. And so I just kept looking, and I've always been very mindful of what we as Black people do. And I said, how is it that our ethnic group is the only one that doesn't spend its money more? We don't roll it around at least 1 or 2 times. All the other ethnic groups are doing a great job, and we're still, at the bottom. And yet everybody knows that we're the largest consumer. And then being in a very large church, it was a mega church. How come we're not, buying and supporting one another? And because everybody knows, and I admit it, I talk, but I have a passion for people who are trying to do their thing, not knowing that this was my gifting. Long and short of it, it went from talking to people about what they did to convincing the church we should do a resource directory, because pastor was against fundraisers and chicken dinners and stuff like that. And I said, well, can't we just do a resource directory and the proceeds will go towards like a scholarship for the youth? He liked that. We put a book together, and some people were, let's do this, and other people were like, I'm not sure. Well, then after we put it together, only had about 98 people put their little business cards in the resource directory. But then everybody was calling me, well, Carla, do you know that somebody that does this? And I'm like, everybody calling me, asking me, who do I know? Nobody asking me, do I want to go bowling? Bowling or roller skating or whatever, because we're talking about, back in the early 90s. One thing again led to another, and I literally had a vision. I had a vision about it's never the way you think it is in reality, but at the end it was about helping people to become economically independent, and to learn how to do that from a biblical perspective. And I woke up scared, because at the time the person who told me in the dream was an associate pastor. And I told him in between, we had 2 services, and his wife said, well, God will reveal. And I'm like, I ain't got time for God to reveal. Tell me now what this means, because it was like this. And literally about within the year, things just started happening. The associate pastor at that church started his own church. I went with him, and that ministry nurtured me and helped me do. And through the teachings of Miles Monroe, that was always about your maximizing your potential, understanding your vision, knowing that the things that God put in you is for the earth. It's not for you to hold on to it. You're supposed to be a blessing to the earth. And so, because I kept saying, I'm not the person. And every time I turned around, people calling me. So I started embracing it. And that was 1992. Funny, this is year 2022. And I had, and now I just realized that. And I had that vision around, I'm going to say March or April of 1992. And I'm not going to say I never looked back, but I just kept going. Fear and trembling. I just kept going. And God has given me visions over the years, more in the beginning than now, because now I'm realizing, oh, that's what that meant. Oh, that's what that meant. And so,
so Carla, let me ask this. LB, were you friends at that time, back in the 90s?
The late 90s. Carla and I, it was destiny for us to meet because we were traveling in our circles at the time. I was heading up marketing and PR for the Economic Development Corporation, and I was going to chamber of commerce meetings, and people kept saying, "Oh, there's this young lady you need to meet. You need to meet her." And everybody kept telling me their name is Carla Nelson. She has a company, Visionary Networks. Oh, you need to meet her. You guys remind me of each other. And there was an event, a small business event, and she had a table at the event, and economic development had a table, and we literally just crashed into each other, and we've been together, friends ever since. We found out we were 10 days apart in age, which is an anomaly in itself because we're so much alike that we finish each other's sentences, we complete each other's thought processes, and we understand our Virgo-ness.
Okay, so
you have to have a friend that understands your Virgo ways.
Right. I'm gonna tell you, so I'm hearing that kindred spirit going on.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I understand her front, back, center, all the way, and she is the kind of friend, because we're friends first. And so when we do work together, because we've worked together several times, because you are so close in friendship, and I trust her judgment, and if she gives it to me straight, because she knows that's the only way I want it. And when you're running a small business plus having a full-time job, which I do, you have to be able to negotiate. And a lot of times there are things you want to do that you can't do because you don't have the time for it. And partnering with Carla has allowed me to expand my home-based business, which I've had since 2000, because she could come in and do some things for me and with me that I couldn't get to. And she's subbed for me so many times. And so it's a 30-year friendship.
Very good.
And she's me. I just have to say, Shelby is graphic extraordinaire. It's the logo that you all see for Conference Room Conversation. That's Miss Shelby McCray.
Very good.
The Nelson Ideation Group, that's Miss Shelby McCray. And I get so many compliments.
Yes.
That is just incredible. And so I just have to tell her, okay, this is what I want. And then I'm like, whoa. And she blows it out the water every time.
Well, I told you I was extremely impressed with both, right?
Yeah.
I didn't know it was Miss Shelby.
Yeah.
And I was extremely impressed with both. So now, Carla, fast forward from the 1990s and go into the next phase.
So, and as Shelby said, we met, it was we realized the other day it was 1998. And we've had different iterations, and I had a company called Visionary Network Consultants. So going into the year 2000, you have to remember now we're talking about the federal government is in a war with Bosnia, though they didn't call it a war. And the company I was doing some consulting work for had to get rid of their sub-consultants. So where I was making money over in the managed healthcare field that was helping to pay the rent of my office, I actually had a training facility, and that's part of the business. People now don't know what I've done, and Shelby and Sandra have to remind me. From 96 to 99, I had a 3,000 square foot facility in Lanham, Maryland, 1,500 feet up and down. And I had a room where you could have a training facility. I had a smaller room, which was an office if you wanted to just have a one-on-one conversation. I had a conference room, a board room, and upstairs I had a computer area because Y2K was going on. And there was a company out in New Jersey that was doing the training from Cobalt to whatever the new one was. And they put their computers in it, had like a little computer lab upstairs, and my office was upstairs. And we had people who would come out and rent the various rooms as they needed it. And that's something that people, I was doing that before Regis was ever Regis. How about that? And, you could rent it for 2 hours or a day or several days, and depending on the size of the room and what you needed it for. And that was to get people from having to, because we're talking the 90s. It wasn't a big, you weren't supposed to have a P.O. box. That was taboo. It was taboo. You weren't, quote, official, and you're nodding your head because you know how it was, from the certification side. You weren't official unless you had rented office space. If you were in your home,
Yep,
how
that's
dare
right.
you? How dare you? You can't have it at the kitchen table or the dining room table. You had to have brick and mortar space. So
Yes.
if you're just starting out, then if you're in a restaurant, which means once the food comes, that's it. Or you're in a hotel lobby, once the drink comes, that's it. So let's have this facility so you can come in and do business. And while you're there, if you need copies made, we'll do copying for you. We had, if you wanted to rent out our address, and we would do like suite A, B, and C. That was before UPS became a thing of
Right.
having all of that. Is what we offered in the mid 90s. And so Shelby being hooked up with me, and me being hooked up with the Prince George's Chamber, we were just getting the word out. Hey, here's an opportunity for these startup companies. So now you move into the early 2000s. I'm going 2000 chamber night with Prince George's Chamber, and we had legislative night in Greenbelt. Everybody's there. All of our dear friends. Major Riddick by this time is the chief of
Wow.
staff.
Okay.
I'm just Major Riddick's the chief of staff with the governor's office. His wife is Minerva, who was the government affairs office for Washington Gas. And I said, Minerva, can I talk to your husband? And she's like, girl, please. Now here's the fact that a lot of women need to know, especially when you are single, but even if you're married, don't disrespect the wife of a man you're trying to talk to, even if it's in business. And establish the relationship with the wife, because whether she doesn't have a problem with it or not, it's just respectful because you don't know the man. I asked the wife, she's like, girl, go ahead, thank you, but I was like, I want to go talk to your husband, and I want to talk about business. Again, I went to Major, said, hi, my name is Carla Nelson, this is my company, this is what I do. I know you don't need me today, but you may need me later. So I have a network of people. We do blah, 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 and running my mouth. He said, well, tell you what, call my office, tell my secretary, he gave me her name, that I want to set up a meeting. We'll have a conversation. I said, nope. I said, you have your secretary call me. And he said, what do you mean? You're the chief of staff for the state of Maryland. Everybody probably telling your secretary, Major told me to call. And he said, you're right. She called. We had a meeting. We had it at the Greenbelt Marriott, But I just told him what I did. And he said, what do you know about Ghana? Our churches have churches in Ghana. Our denomination has churches in Ghana. My church has done missions, but that's about it. He said, well, Ghana Airways has a hub in New York, in LaGuardia. He's a JFK. He said they're looking to either put another hub in the airport, either at BWI or Dulles. And if I have anything to do with it, it's coming to BWI because we have a lot of Ghanaians. I said, okay. He said, so I'm thinking about having a reception for once we do this deal. It wasn't even done. He said, once we do this deal, let's have a reception for the Ghanaians in Prince George's and Silver Spring. Fine. Montgomery County. So we start putting everything together. He introduced me to Jonathan Dean, who's still at the airport today. And he gave me the information of the people they have been talking to over the last several months about. So sure enough, they inked the deal. Ghana's coming to BWI Airport. And I'm all happy because I'm, getting ready to get this little contract. And this is when you do things right. This is when I start understanding politics. Now, the marketing, budget was held by one person. And all of a sudden, this little lady has a piece of the marketing budget to hold this event. And what was supposed to be a small event at Newton White Mansion all of a sudden became a large event at the International Wing in the airport in July.
Oh my gosh.
And the reason why it went from a small piece in Newton White is because our dear friend, God rest his soul, Pete Rawlings was in charge of appropriations. And this is another thing of us understanding how literally how the game is played, but what happens when our people are in prime positions. Pete saw the money that the airport was spending on Aer Lingus, the Ireland airline, the following week, and asked, so how come y'all not spending the same money for Ghana Airways? Well, we don't know nothing about Ghanaian. He said, but you got somebody, and I didn't know this. You got somebody working on this. The amount of money you spending on Aer Lingus, you better spend the same amount on Ghana Airways. And I got the call saying, change of plans. It's now going to be an official state of Maryland inauguration at the airport, and you're in charge.
So at this time, had you officially been given a contract, or you're just still working off of, hey, I can do this and we got you on board? Okay. So yep. I'm gonna take a second to say this. So Shelby, Wanda Watts from Facebook is saying that she needs a logo revised. So Wanda, we're gonna make sure that you and Shelby get connected. Absolutely. So Shelby can make you have this wonderful logo like she did for Miss Carla Nelson Chambers. Okay. Yes. That's what we do.
Wanda's a very good friend. Absolutely.
We help business do business. So
yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yes. Okay.
So the long and short of it is, this is something that you can identify with, Michelle. I didn't have a contract like with the airport or anything, right?
Okay.
But I had two good friends, Scott Phillips, who was on my show last week, John Petty, and I knew both of them. And they were like, I wasn't certified. Mind you, we're talking 2000. I wasn't certified. I live in Prince George's. And they both called Ricky Smith, because Ricky was the manager for the Offices of Fair Practices at the time. And they said, Ricky, do you know there's a Black girl doing work in your airport and she's not certified and she getting ready to head this event? And he was like, what? I need to meet her. So we didn't meet until the day of the event. The airport did not believe me when I told them we're going to have a lot of people at the airport for this event. We had the ambassador Kobe Kumsum from Ghana was there. Rodney Slater, the Secretary of Transportation for the federal level.
I know Mr.
Slater. Senator, that's right, Senator Paul Sarbanes, Congressman Elijah Cummings, Catherine Kennedy Towson was the lieutenant governor because she was, getting ready to run.
Yeah,
she was there. Of course, Major got it. He's all chest out, all proud because this is his baby coming to light. And we had every minister, because we call them secretaries of what have you in the United States. In a lot of African countries, they are called ministers of a whatever agency.
Right.
Every minister from Ghana, along with the CEO of Ghana Airways, came over on the flight. When they walked into the airport, they heard authentic Ghanaian music. He was a neighbor of my mom's that was playing music and understood.
Okay, so now we got Coming to America going on. Okay. All right.
And so he understood the protocol of which do you play the national anthem and the Ghanaian anthem. He said, we do this at all our ceremonies, right? I brought in a Ghanaian caterer. I was somebody I knew. She was in real estate, but she says, girl, I'm a caterer. So with my contract that I received, other people got paid. The caterer got paid. The musician got paid. We bought, this other gentleman had a book called Go Ghana, and it was a guide. There was a book that he published to help you. If you wanted to go to Ghana, these were the places you needed to go, things you needed to, we gave those away as gifts. I was a professor at Howard University that did this and drink a sign poster with the definitions of what they all meant. Those were given out as gifts. We had over 500 people in the international wing of the airport, which is where now, if you go over there, it's where the military leave out, right? Ricky saw me. We had never met. We had been talking on the phone. We never met. And he said, are you going to Ghana? And I said, yes, they're letting me go. He said, when you come back, we need to talk. And he told me later, no one has ever brought this many people into an event before. What do you do? Who are you? What is this? And I said, I have a network. And he said, you have more people, you brought in more folks into this event than we have registered in the MDOT directory at the time. He said, we've only been doing Baltimore region. We can't seem to penetrate Prince George's, Charles County. And
That's
he said,
right. That's right.
And I brought it back to his attention. He said, BWI is, mind you, BWI is the state of Maryland's airport, and we don't want folks going to Reagan National. They need to be coming to our, this is the state's airport. And I never forgot that. And so now that Ricky is the CEO, and you know, we everybody wants to come to BW Thurgood Marshall International Airport.
All right, so hold that. I'm going to jump back to Shelby. Shelby, I want to know, since Carla has been putting on these events, and Sandra, you might need to chime in on this one. Have either of you ladies attended any of Carla's events? And can you tell me a little bit about them?
Well, I can certainly say she has an attention to detail that is remarkable. Just remarkable. She is so detail oriented about and organized. And so, yeah, I've attended many of her events, and I've asked her to participate in quite a few of the things that I've done because I wanted her expertise in them. But she's all over the place at the day of the event. So don't bargain on trying to talk to her that day, because she's like all over the place. Carla can talk to a tree, literally. She can talk to anybody about anything. And so I'm always in awe at events that she either has or she's at, because she knows, first of all, she knows half the room or more. And then the second is she's connecting the whole entire time. The whole entire time she's connecting those who have with those who need, those who are looking for contracts with those with new businesses. And that's her thing. And she commits names to memory and what people do and their last project. And so it's definitely a spiritual God-given gift, because she can remember names and faces really well, even at our age. So yeah, it's something to watch and see how she does connect people up. So I'm always just amazed by the way she can work a room.
Very good. Sandra, can you share anything with us?
I mean, I'm going to ditto what Shelby said. I mean, I've actually worked with Carla on a contract, and she's amazing. I don't even know how she does it. And sometimes I remember thinking, man, I got to keep up with her. I got to make sure that all my I's are dotted and T's across. And Shelby is right. She can work a room. I've seen her in action, and she's pulling people together and connecting people. And if you're working with her, the thing about working with her is you have to know your gifting, your role. I mean, really, and not feel some kind of way about it, because she brought you in for a reason, right? So you're there to help her. So you go do your thing while she's doing her thing, because that's what she's trusting you to do. And she connects. And I love that, because she, in her mind, everybody's going to eat, right? So
right. That's right.
Contract, everybody is eating at that table.
We're going to eat good too.
And literally we do eat. Well, that's true. Before the event and after the event, literally. But she's gonna make sure that she can, like, who can work with me on this, and that's just how she is.
Okay.
She literally, she's not somebody who believes in doing things by herself. She's gonna bring somebody along with her.
Yes,
and if I can,
Michelle, that is very true, ladies.
If I can say that, I thank you, Sandra, for saying that I bring people in, because there was a time in the beginning I brought people in and it wasn't right. And I was trying to figure out, what did I do wrong? And or why wouldn't they get it? And realizing they just weren't the right people. And now see something there she is. They just weren't the right people. And so I thought, do I do this by myself? Doesn't anybody get this? And that's part of the journey, because we often hear leaders say that the higher you go up in leadership, the lonelier it gets. My experience isn't quite like that. The higher you go up in leadership or excel in your business, the circle gets smaller, but it gets there's a glue. And it's kind of like, Michelle, what you were talking about, the angel warriors. They're not just a circle of influence, as Shelby and I, we have our posses, our girls, but there's a different, deeper meaning because they're your angel warriors. They literally are like that ring of fire, for the protection and for the encouragement and for the the girl, you got this, and all of that plays into it. So if you want to succeed, you need your people. And there's sometimes, I play second fiddle. Sometimes, they play, I play first, I play second, or sometimes you just sitting on the sideline. It really depends. But when I need them, and I'm just going to tell a funny story. When I had this contract opportunity come up, in this business, the Nelson Ideation Group, Sandra says, well, girl, I'll just carry your bag. I said, well, now that you mention it, and she goes, I was just playing. I said, now that you mention it,
I did. I literally said to her,
I didn't want to go to this place by myself. I really want, and the client was like, fine. And we thinking, oh, we're going to have to share a room. And even though we're good girlfriends, we've never shared a room before. Next thing we know, they like, we got your room, we got her. We were like, whoa. Client was like, not a problem. Okay. And we went to 2 different cities to do some work for them, paid for everything. I was like, oh, this how it's done.
But let me just say that carrying the bag thing, though. Honestly, I was kidding, but I wasn't kidding, because I also know that we do need help, right? I mean, yes, I have my own business, but it's nothing for me to say, hey, you want me to carry your bags, girl? Because I know that you got to think about this, this, and this. And I mean, carry bags, not literally, but figuratively. I'm saying, I'm there. If you, what can I do to literally lighten your load?
And she lightened the load too.
Because sometimes you do need, and you need people you can trust to help lighten your load. And so when she said, well, okay, I was just like, oh, she's serious. She got this contract, she got everything. And next thing you know, we were off and running. But it was, I loved it, because I got to really see her in action, and I got to be in a supportive role for her. And the event went off without a hitch, because she needed that.
I'm gonna tell you, Sandra, I am so happy that you just shared that and you said those things, because what you did, you gave me a memory thought. Now, the part that you played for Carla and doing all of that, the person in my life, in my career, with my travels, with the conferences, with speaking engagements, that person for me, I don't know if she's listening, but it's Alicia Fredericks, right? She has been that person to hold the purse, right? She has been that person for me to, girl, I got this. Don't worry. Right. Go ahead. I'm gonna get your stuff in the room for you. I'm gonna make sure that all go ahead, because you're running late. Go ahead, right. Like, he has been that one when I couldn't get myself together to be able to say, okay, I need some help. She already knew I needed help.
Yep.
Right. She already knew I needed help, and she was right there for me. She was like, no, I already got the airline stuff together. Just get your speech together, practice your stuff, get your PowerPoint. I got everything else. And the whole time she was my left hand and my right hand. So without people like yourself, like Alicia Fredericks, I'm gonna tell you, girl, there have been many times when I felt like, how did I do that?
Right. How about that? How did I do that?
How did I do that? She became, that circle of trust person, right? And like to this day, I'll be like, okay, I gotta go speak in North Carolina. Like, and she'll say,
what do
okay,
I do?
right. And the thing is, she'll say, I'm gonna show you how to do it, because I told her I needed to know what it was she did so I can help myself. Right.
And with Shelby, what she's done is sometimes things come up and I'm like, is it okay to, because again, she's like, she said she works full time. And I don't want to bother her, but she's like, I told you, if you need something, call me. I'm like, but sometimes it's last minute, it don't matter. And and I heard her today, and I can receive it differently now, is because we know each other. She doesn't even have to say, I got you. She said, what do you need? Oh, and even for this show, when I was trying to get my she gave me the logo, but I couldn't get it on YouTube, and I didn't want to bother. She's like, girl, just what? And I was like, okay, here's the back room. Here's like, I got it. Bam, done, And for me, I would be struggling to try to make things work for 5 hours.
Right.
Give it to the subject matter expert. Give it to the, and she, I already know what you need. Bam, done. And then she texts me back, done. I was like, man. So
yes,
I say all of that because your network is important. Some people want a network to help them get the contract. You need a network just to help you look literally bigger than you are, to help you look like what you are. And I'm gonna tell you another trade secret. Shelby's so good. I'm gonna tell it. When I opened up the Nelson Ideation Group, if you go to my website and see my picture, she knew I had on the dress that's on the website. That ain't the color of the dress. The dress is blue. Shelby got through. It's the color of what you see. Girlfriend's like, I know what I'm doing. She changed the color of my dress. You never would know. But when you have people,
though, when you have those type of people in your life, right?
Yeah,
it's so easy to give back to them because they have given so freely to you, to help you in their business. And so it makes it easy to help them with their businesses endeavors, like whatever it is, whatever it is, because it's nothing like, dealing with Sandra, it's nothing I wouldn't do for Alicia Fredericks. She could call me, hey, I got you, but I'll stop, because it's that type of relationship, right?
Yep, absolutely.
He has been like perfect for me in my business career.
Yes.
So absolutely. I can understand that role, Sandra.
It's interesting. It's interesting because what I've learned is to be for somebody else what I want somebody to be for me, right? Because we said we want to do those things, but you first got to be that the thing that you want. And to see Carla blossom and to have been on this journey with her from us meeting at her first book fair that she did. That's how she and I met, when she and then we kind of traveled this road together to see her go from that to getting a job, to moving from Prince George's County to Baltimore, then leaving the mayor's office and being on that journey with her to getting these contracts. It's like, okay, what she need? Because I've seen the journey, and I recognize that she has been there for so many people. And my thought was, who is there for her? That was my thought. That literally was my thought. Who is there for her?
That's deep.
And I wasn't looking for a contract. I literally was saying, girl, you want me to carry your bags? Because who is there for you? And so it's like, and I would do it again because she is that kind of person. She really is that kind of a person that, if she needs something, I'm there. During COVID, I showed up. When she needed, she didn't always, I showed up because that's what you do.
That's what? That's not funny.
You know what? I'm saying thank you too, Carl. Look, I'm saying thank you too.
These two ladies showed up. These two ladies showed up during COVID, during a very tender. Well, it was more than tender. My mom passed during COVID, in the height of it, and Shelby called, and I was trying. She didn't know that I was. That was the day I got to go see my mom in hospice. And I'm out in the garden, and she FaceTiming me, and I'm like, and she called me back, and I think it was like the third time. She says, I need to see your face. She didn't even know that I was going to see my mom for the last time that day. She said, nope, I'm calling you. How you doing? I need to see your face. Okay. I'm like, all right, let me take the gloves off. Let me put the, the utensils down there, because I was in the garden, and we talked. And she prayed for me. And when I told her what was going on, she said, I knew it. I needed to call you, and prayed for me. And I was able to go see my mom for that last time and everything. And so that's when it's more than just, business friends. These are my sister girls. These, so they get me when I don't get myself. They're the ones when I am literally crying, and not trying, figuring out what's wrong, what did I do wrong, nope, let's get it together. I'm gonna give you your 2-3 minutes.
Yeah, I just want to chime in on that, because it's not always rosy. It's not always laughter, and it's not always, seeking, those contracts and those things. But there are moments when you just need to be somebody to prop you up. And there are moments when you just have to be able to reduce yourself enough to hear your sister. I've always found that when I hear people that, they say Black women, cat scratch and like crabs in a barrel, they don't work well together. And that's nonsense, because soon as we do discover the Black girl magic, and as soon as we do discover the power we have when we do connect, real connection, not the I need to get a contract connection, or I need to get a hookup connection. The real connection where you really step back and want to see your sister succeed.
Yes.
And she wants to see you succeed, and you feel it. You feel a little bit stronger. You feel a little bit more like you can do what you need to do, because she told you that day, I believe in you. And so it's an important thing, because the world doesn't always tell us as women, and particularly women of color, that you are good.
And look what we're dealing with now with the Supreme Court selection.
Right, exactly. Right. So you just having your own tribe be able to pour into you. Even when you meet a young woman, because I mean, you live long enough, you're gonna get old. Even when you meet a young woman who's doing the same thing you do, take the time to pour into them, because you are making you better by pouring into her.
That's right.
And then you'll turn 10 years from now and see that young lady on the cover of something or doing something. And you know that there was a season for you to meet with her and pour into her what you could, because we can always learn from each other, particularly your sister girlfriends, because everybody has those experiences. And I know with Carla, our moments are just so rock hard and strong in truth. They're just steeped in truth. I can put on something crazy and just take a picture, send it to her, and go,
that's the other way. I did that.
And I'm like, no, you can't wear it. No, you can't wear it.
She said,
and you can't do that with everybody. You got to have those established relationships with people, but you want to be honest. The honesty part, and I think it's a spiritual sense too, because we both have a strong relationship with our Lord and Savior. So I think that is the basis of our truth and our we operate on a soulful level.
Yes.
Our souls connect.
Yes.
And so I trust her in business. I can call on the phone and go, girl. I don't know. This is a great contract, and I just want to quit this job. But then when you get so close to retirement, you're like, oh, because there's so many times I want to quit, and I want to live through her vicariously and just say, this full-time thing, I'm done. I got school, I got grad school, I got this and I got that. I just want to do Premiere. I just want to do my PR business. But I never could let go. I just, I couldn't. I'm just tethered to the security of that benefit, of the benefits. But it has allowed me to work. I've watched people go from law, you know, to
Yeah.
just being a mayor to now being in the General Assembly. So I
Right.
watched, you know, people grow, and I've got those connections now on a state level and on, you know, on a county level, state level, whatever, having and a national level, because I've been in it so long that now I know when I do stop
Right.
and I do my business full time, those connections are there.
Right.
And I can always bring and you know, I call Carla every summer when we have Mako down in Ocean City. And I know I got a room down there, and I'm like, come on down, do your networking thing, stay with me. You know, we get to all be together. And she gets to network. She gets to reconnect with the people that she
Yes.
have relationships with in the county, even though she's in Baltimore now. She still has real connections still back, you know, here in the county. So I always love it when she gets down there and everybody's so excited to see her again and get to connect with her again. Because, you know, I miss her being close by, but it's not a day that, you know, that I can't call on her.
That is such a blessing, Shelby. That is really a blessing. I what sticks out for me in getting to know Carla and to meet Carla was she orchestrated the synergy at BWI Marshall Airport. So that was my biggest memory and interaction with her, seeing her be on her game, do her thing, didn't miss a beat. Like you said, she is everywhere. And the thing was, she turned my head. Like she, you know, I'm like, you know, and so she she tells me, so you're Michelle. And I'm like, okay. You know, it's like I'm trying to like figure her out, and she already knew you're Michelle. I'm like, I'm afraid to say I am like I am Michelle, right? Because her energy was like, what's this woman about to say? What is she about to ask me? But I'm gonna tell you, she made me feel warm. Her whole character gave me a hug, right? Because at that time in my career, I was so used to people when they came up to me, it was because they wanted something all the time. It was like, oh, you said your certification. I'm like, ah. And she just came up to be like, I know who you are, I know what you do, and I appreciate you. Well, see, right there, she could have cashed me in, girl. Okay. She could have cashed me in. I was just like, if I didn't pay attention to nothing else that day, I didn't care. She could have cashed me in. And from that time on, she always had my attention. Out of all these thousands of folks and businesses that I, you know, was working with or helping or teaching or coaching, it was one phone call. She always would have my attention because it was a way that she operated and orchestrated that it made me believe in her journey, right? It made me believe in the journey and the honesty. It made me believe in her tears. It made me believe in her struggles. It made me believe in her successes. And I wanted to like be through everything with her and cheer her on and say, don't give up. You can do, don't ever give up. You can do this. And so I made sure that if she called, I would answer that phone because I really just believed in her as the woman. But then what she brought to the table and the value of her skill sets, the gifts that God gave her in business, right? And so to this day, that has been my journey. So I know that the relationship that you ladies have with her go much deeper than her and I, but I can feel it. I can see it, you know, and how you talk about her. It is such a refreshing thing to see in these times that women of color can come together without fighting and bickering and jealousy and this and that. And then, you know, that we are so guilty of doing and being told that that's all we know how to do. Right. You know, the thing is, you can't believe everything you hear.
Well, you know, Michelle, thank you. I didn't know that. And I guess I wasn't supposed to know it. I'm just being me. And I appreciate that you telling me that, because I hear from certain people, you always, interrupting, you always trying to do too much or I'm just being me. And I think all of us are guilty of, it goes back to what Sandra said, if you want to be treated a certain way, you have to, it says, if you want friends, you got to show yourself friendly. If I want people to treat me genuinely, I have to treat people genuinely. And so just, I don't totally remember, but that is me to say, oh, you're Michelle, because that is kind of how how I do. And I had heard such great things about you, and it's like I want to get to know you. And you're right, and you have to come to people to know them for who they are and not for what you can get out of them. And that's with women, that's with men. And whether it's woman to woman, man to man, or male to female, when a person gets to genuinely know you, they will, if you need a mountain move, they'll move a mountain. Because, and I said this in someone else's fundraising, an elected official, and I'm not going to mention that person, but they asked me to speak on behalf of the community. And I was like, oh, I got something for you. And she didn't know what I was going to say. And I said, she told me to stay in contact with her when I first started this business that I have now. Keep me abreast. Just let me know what you're doing. Okay. And I said, there were times when I wasn't sure if I should, continue on. But I remember her saying, keep me informed. Let me know what you're doing. And I said, and when I called her, she knew I wasn't calling for me. I was calling for someone else, another business, like I do with you, Michelle. What do we do? What does, if a company is this, and this, what's the guideline? And you would tell me. And so when people have to understand, when you are working on behalf of someone else, they're more open, because it's not selfish. You're not coming from a position of being selfish. Or, as I said, for this elected official, I said, or she knows I'm trying to bring some business back to the area. So I need to know, how does this work? Because the other folks, they know how it works. We need to know how it works, so we can be, we're not taking away anything from anybody else. We just need to know, how do we do this so we can be successful? That's it. Shelby may not remember, but when she asked me to come down to Mako, she was like, come on down. And I had just opened a business a month prior. Shelby already had we didn't. Did we have the business cards? I think we had we had the CAPE statement, because somebody said, I don't want this CAPE statement. Just call me. I know what you do. Okay. But it was then that I knew the folks in Prince George's, but now I'm in Baltimore County because, I'm married. I'm living here now. Folks didn't really know me in Baltimore County, but sure enough, after Mako, they knew, and it just started happening. So, and then a couple months later, because of my work in the airports, Sandra and I, next thing you know, we're in Indianapolis. And then a couple months later, we're in Dallas. And if it wasn't for COVID, we'd still be in Dallas, So, I was kind of, like, I don't know if I should do this. And them two were like, come on, because you got everything you need, what you need. Shelby, what you need? Bam. Got your CAPE statement done. What else you need? Bam. And after Shelby did it, Michelle, you looked it over. Yep, good to go. That's what we need. That is the sister. It's not worrying, but it's just a sister hookup. I call them my red team. Let's do this, because you all knew if I could go out there. And Shelby would say, Carla, you go on out there. You're the one that's out there talking to everybody. I'll be back in the back. Shelby like, I'm in the background. I got you. What you need done, And she knows that it's like I'm the one to go out to kill the bear, drag the bear back home. We all skin it up and we all eat, But it helps. So when I say we, people, who's we? Because I only see you. I used to get that a lot. I said, because I hated having to put in associates. I didn't like that, right? So I just said the name of my company. And when I was always out, who's we? Whoever the we I need for whatever event. That's the we. Because everybody,
that's right. That's right.
Everybody
Each event that you have done or what have you requires different we's.
Yes, right. That's right. And back in the
Requires
90s,
different
that
words.
wasn't, again, and back in the 90s, that wasn't acceptable. You were supposed to have this number of employees. Everybody's supposed to be at a cubicle and a desk. And this so-called, and if you remember when they started right sizing, and it was bad to call yourself a consultant. Now everybody a consultant. Nobody wants employees. Everybody wants to be a 1099 contractor, what have you. But they recognize that, whoever the client, they saving money because they don't have to, keep all of that reserve money for workers' comp and medical insurance, and everybody's their own, and you just bring in your team.
Right,
And
because
keep it
business has
nimble.
changed.
Business
Luckily,
has changed.
over these years, the way that we do business has changed. Now, I'm not going to say that every level is the best or the greatest or anything, but the way business has evolved, a
Yes.
lot of people have been able to be successful and save some money for overhead.
Yep.
Save more money because processes, regulatory requirements, and those types of things have changed and eased up on what does a business actually look like. So it has allowed it has allowed small businesses in some capacities to actually flourish and be started.
Yes.
Right? Because some of them would have never been started before, but because of the easement of some of the, regulatory requirements, what does business look like? Because it was so many people who want to think out of the box in the concepts of what is a business, it has allowed more small businesses to be able to flourish, like I said, in some capacities and everything. You know, look what COVID has done with brick and mortar. Come on now. So what are we doing for all these buildings now, right?
That's right.
Some buildings will be repurposed and a whole lot may not.
Well, that's absolutely right. And so, I see we got about 3 minutes left. But it's been, from the vision, it's been, what's that, 30 years? Something like that. And I'm grateful for these two ladies that have been with me for a majority of the journey. I'm grateful, literally, this is February, but December of 2020, after, both of these ladies were telling me in December, I couldn't figure out what was going on. And they said, I didn't grieve by doing a boo-ha-ha, but I was just kind of like reevaluating everything. And both of them said, this is the time where you're grieving. And they were both there in their capacities to help me through, because I didn't realize, I was thinking, what's wrong with me? And both of them were saying, nope, this is just this is part of your process of going through this natural change in your life. Because I was okay with, with the path transitioning of my mom. We're all going to go. I was okay with that. I didn't know what that feeling was that I was having. And in the midst of COVID, and because both of them know I'm a people person, all of us are huggers, and I didn't have them to hug immediately because everybody's like, stay in lockdown. And that was hard for me. And so they did the best thing they can. And when you're trying to go through that and trying to stand up your business right when you were standing it up, and then COVID shut it down, if you question. And these two ladies were like, nope, you still good. You still good. I'm like, okay. And I'm good. I'm real good. I'm real good now. So, and lastly, Michelle, when you told me about this opening to have this show, I called Sandra and Shelby separately. They were like, well, it's about time. Who is it that Shelby said, long time, I told you. We ain't gonna tell about how many years ago. I told you. And I was like, I don't want to do that.
I'm gonna tell you, I couldn't think of no one else, ladies. When it was brought to my attention that this need was here, right? And I knew myself, I can't do this every Wednesday. I mean, because of other obligations, but I said I will support her as much as I can. She was the first one that God put in front of me. Now, of all the people that I know, You know, and it's not like we talk every day. No, it's not like every week. No, it's not.
Nope.
He put her face in front of me when I was, asked about this. And I'm like, I can't do it, but I know who can. And I said, give me a minute. I need to reach out. And I always say, God knows more than what we do. But I want to say this, Carla, thank you for allowing me to flip the script tonight.
And, like I had a choice.
and to really share what you do. And I think that the audience needs to hear your journey, because I want them to know that you connect with all the subjects that we're going to talk about on this podcast. You'll be able to connect with every single one. And that's why you're my queen who wears the crown for the podcast.
Oh, thank you. Well, Shelby, and would y'all come off of mute? Because, we got a little bit of time left. I just want to say thank you for your steadfast love and support. And because of the network with them, our network is broader. So some of the people we're going to have on in the weeks and months to come are because of the relationships that I have with all three of you for the sake of our audience. And whereas I might not know intimately all of the guests, they do. And that's that other, trust piece, because if you know somebody and, if they're of the tribe and they of the same kindred spirit, no problem. I'll be on her show. And I appreciate that because of you all. I have an expanded network of people who are willing to talk about some subject matters that are very dear to us as women in business or working in a business. It's very important. So just stay tuned. Thank you so much for tonight's flipping the script.
You need a script flipped on you too, Missy.
I know, right?
Because the one thing you would never do is talk about yourself. And so, yes, you need to have that done. You have to have a time where you can let people know all the great things you've done and people you've helped. And so thank you, Michelle, for flipping the script. So
you're welcome, Shelby.
She needed to hear it, and I needed to hear it, because I'm like, oh God, I know her forever. This is all right.
Yep.
And when you get so close to somebody, you forget how brilliant they really are. And she's brilliant, and she's a bright star. And I'm so glad she's my sister.
Yes.
Yeah, Michelle, thank you. Thank you for doing that, because I agree. She will never talk about herself. She forgets everything that she does. She barely celebrates it, to be very honest. And so this was a good, give people their flowers now.
Yeah.
Right? So this is a celebration of her, because she really does celebrate others. So I am so honored. Thank you, Carla, for asking me to be here. This was like going down memory lane. So I'm grateful.
Finished. We didn't even talk about. We didn't talk about tea time with the authors, but there'll be time for that.
Yeah,
oh my God, I remember that.
Yeah, so I'm grateful. I love you. The journey really is just beginning. Like there's always so this is a new journey, and I'm excited to be on this journey with you. So
I'm excited to have you guys, because we all sitting at this table. How about that?
And you know what? That means you always have support, because if I can't be here, we got Shelby. Now we got Sandra. I'm like, okay, all working out.
Yep, absolutely.
That's right. So take your vitamins, do your workout, because we got a long way to go.
Yeah, that's true. Yep. Shelby said, we were talking about something else real quick. We're going to get out. She said, girl, we just going to be pushing each other's wheelchair. And then when we get old, we just going to be pushing each other's wheelchair. Come on. I'm like, all right.
That's it.
Thank you, ladies. Appreciate it.
Love
For
you,
those
girl.
of you who are watching via YouTube, it's Conference Room Conversations. Please click and subscribe. Don't lick. Okay. Just click and subscribe. Tell your friends. We're only 4 or 5 weeks in, and I'm looking to build this powerful conversation for all of us, for both women and men. So until next Wednesday, remember to take your seat at the table and have conversations with people, authentic, as Sandra says, conversations, because that's what helps us to be better people who we are. Thank you so much, and good evening. Okay.